Hi there. It's June 25th and time for Proverbs 25. Let's jump over there. Okay, now these are the one Solomon actually wrote ended in 24. 25 verse 1 says, "These are also Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, transcribed." I'm not sure who Hezekiah was. I haven't gotten there through the Bible in a year yet. Let's see what they wrote about Solomon. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. Don't know what that means? No. We don't have kings here in America. Although some people like to think they would be, huh? As the heaven for height and the earth for depth, so the heart of kings is unsearchable. King is the boss, I guess. 4, take away the dross from silver, and there comes out a vessel for the smith. Okay, yes, I like this. They call this slag today. When you melt silver in a furnace till it's a liquid state, all the impurities and the slag and the dirt and the iron is going to float to the top, and then you can scoop that off, and you're left with pure silver. Okay? Says in other parts of the Bible, God does that with hearts. Okay? If you asked him to create in you a clean heart, we talk about refiners of fire. It's a painful process, but the outcome is pure. 5, take away the wicked before the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Right. If we could get rid of all the lobbyists, I think our country would be a lot better off, don't you think? Right. Take away the lobbyists before the Congress, and our government will be established in righteousness. Yeah. Do not claim honor in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great, for it is better that it be said to you, come up here, than for you to be placed lower in the presence of the prince, whom your eyes have seen. All right. That's a good bit of advice right there. If you're going to some kind of a function, okay, no matter the function, always sit in the back. Because if you say, oh, my place is up front because I'm important, and you go up the front, and then somebody comes up to you and says, I'm sorry, you're in somebody else's seat, your place is back there. Then in front of everybody, you got to get up and walk to the back and be embarrassed. Right? It's better to sit in the back and say, oh, we have a seat for you up front, and you get to walk up in front of everybody. It's just good advice. Be humble, okay? Humble is the key to Proverbs, is being humble. Verse 8, Do not go out hastily to argue your case. Otherwise, what will you do in the end when your neighbor humiliates you? Right? Don't go jumping ahead of everything. I'm looking at the notes. Otherwise, there are lots of notes in here. List. Don't just go suing somebody, because you might lose. Instead, argue your case with your neighbor, and do not reveal the secret to another, or he who hears it will reproach you, and the evil report about you will not pass away. Right? If you got a problem with somebody, go to that person in person, just between you two, so the judges and everybody in the courtroom isn't going to sit here broadcasting your business to everybody. Because if you lose, everybody's going to remember it. Okay? Evan. Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a word spoken in right circumstances. Right? A good word, timely word at a perfect time. If God puts it on your heart, tell this person that, then tell that person that. Okay? If you're thinking it yourself, probably better not to. But but I have been given prophecies about a person, and anybody can prophesy to somebody else. It's not like telling the future, but if you ask the Spirit, He will give you advice for somebody. We talked about that, so we'll highlight it. Oops. There you go. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. All right. It's always nice to be wise and somebody listen to you that wants your wisdom, right? Most times it's better to keep your mouth shut. Like the coldest snow in the time of harvest is a faithful messenger to those who send him. They like snow in harvest because it never happens, but it's cooling because it's very hot, sweaty work. For he refreshes the soul of his masters. 14, like clouds and wind without rain, is a man who boasts of his gifts falsely. Got that? Boasts of his gifts falsely. Yeah. By forbearance a ruler may be persuaded, and a soft tongue breaks the bone. That's very true. Words are the most powerful things there are, okay? That's why you're better off keeping your mouth shut, and because a wrong word can do a lot of damage, okay? And a right word can do a lot of good. 16, have you found honey? Eat only what you need, that you not have it in excess and vomit it out. Right. Don't be a glutton. 17, this is good advice. Let your foot rarely be in your neighbor's house, or he will become weary of you and hate you. You got that? Don't wear out your welcome, okay? People are nice to you. Just keep your distance. Let them call you. You're always knocking on your neighbor's door. Pretty soon he's going to get sick of you, and you're going to wear out your welcome, and he can hate you. Hey, like a club and a sword and a sharp arrow is a man who bears false witness against his neighbor. Okay, that's lying. And that's one of the big, in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not bear false witness. Don't. And there's people doing that. Huge people, okay, that are accusing somebody of doing something that they never did, and the media picks up on it, and it goes rampantly wild, and you have all this stuff, and somebody is falsely accusing them. Okay? You could probably think of 1 or 2 cases going on like that. 19. Like a bad tooth and an unsteady foot is confidence in a faithless man in time of trouble. Right? You need people you can count on. Okay? Tried and true, loyal. And I have counted on people like this and been very let down. And thankfully, the Lord always bails me out. Okay, that was way back in my 20s when I was young and foolish. 20, like one who takes off a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar on soda, is he who brings songs to a troubled heart. Right. Now that's important. Okay. If somebody's got a broken heart and they're trouble and they're bad and depressed, you don't want to go around and going la 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 la. Just yeah. That's like taking off your coat in the snow, or vinegar on soda. Foams up and hey. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink, for you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Okay? Now, Jesus said this. He said, love your enemies. Right? Love your enemies. If you take care of them and they hate you, it's like heaping burning coals on their heads. Okay? The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue, an angry countenance. Angry countenance. Let's look that up. That's quite the word, isn't it? Appearance, especially the look or expression on the face, to approve or give support to something. So, what does it say over here? 25, 23. Says angry looks. Okay. Looks. Angry looks. That's easier, huh? Here. More Solomon's words. It is better to live in the corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. Okay. Now, I wondered why these were all over Proverbs. All over Proverbs. Okay. And from studying Solomon and through the Bible in a year, I find out Solomon, who was my favorite person in the Old Testament, Solomon had 700 wives, okay? And what brought Solomon down was all the women. He had a weakness for beautiful women. And he liked to keep them happy. And he would import women from all over the world. And they would bring their customs, and they would bring their gods and their idols with them. And to keep them happy, Solomon would build temples to their idols in direct conflict with God. Okay? And that's what brought him down. Okay? So, my advice on this, have one wife and not 700 wives. Okay? You can't keep that many people happy and satisfied and secure. You can't do it. So, but he tried. Anyways, that's why he has these all over Proverbs, talking about contentious woman or a nagging wife or crazy stuff, huh? 25, like cold water to a weary soul, so is good news from a distant land. Right. We would like some good news from a distant land, huh? 26, like a trampled spring in a polluted well is a righteous man who gives way before the wicked. Now, there are people in our own government that were good people, and they give way before the wicked, They get threatened, and they go along with things that they would normally not go along with, things that are against their countenance, It's terrible. 27, and we highlighted this before. It's not good to eat too much honey, nor is it glory to search out one's own glory. Okay? Search out one's own glory. Just their own glory. Okay? Don't go searching. Don't brag. Don't go searching out for your own glory. Okay? That's not glory. Okay? Humble. Again, it's all about being humble. Just a little side note. Moses, and everybody knows who Moses is. Probably one of the most famous men in the Old Testament was Moses and all the stuff he did. Leading the slaves out of Egypt and parting the Red Sea. And, being the leader of like 1 million people. God said that Moses was the most humble man that ever lived. Imagine being a leader like that and being the most humble man that ever lived. Being humble, yet being great, is when other people build you up and you don't build yourself up, because nobody likes that, okay? In fact, Moses was so humble, he didn't even like to speak in front of large crowds. He told God, I can't speak, I stammer, I stutter, and he was just so humbled, he didn't want to do that. So God had his brother Aaron speak for him, okay? Yeah, humble. Don't search out your own glory. Other people will build you up when the time is right. Okay? And 28, like a city that is broken into and without walls is a man who has no control over his spirit. That you got no control over your spirit. Everything is broken down and open, and anybody can trample on you and do lots of stuff. So, At 25, let's see what we highlighted here. Okay. We highlighted 4. Take away the dross from silver, and there comes out a vessel for the smith. I'm talking about that. You melt silver, you melt gold down to liquid. All the impurities always flow to the top. Okay, always. And then you take a ladle and you scoop the impurities out and you throw them away, and you're left with pure gold. Now, they use these examples all over because God does that with hearts, okay? He will melt it down to liquid, and all the bad stuff will flow to the top, and he will scoop it off and throw it away. And you're left with a clean, pure heart. All right? And that's a process. It's a hard process, and it's a painful process, but the outcome is magnificent. Okay, we talked about 6 and 7. Do not claim honor in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great men. For it is better that it be said to you, come up here, than for you to be placed in a lower position in the presence of the prince whom your eyes have seen. Right. You think I belong up front because I'm special, and they say, I'm sorry, your seat's over there. And then you got to get up and walk to your seat in front of the whole crowd, and everybody's laughing at you. Or you could sit in the back and be humble in the beginning and say, Amen, your seat's up here. We saved a place for you right up front, a place of honor. Then people get to watch you walk to the front. Okay? Good stuff. I'm going to highlight 11. Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a word spoken in the right circumstances. If the Lord puts it on your heart to say something good to somebody, do it. If he doesn't, then don't. Okay? Just that easy. The word spoken in the right circumstances. Okay. What else am I highlight? Part of 15. A soft tongue breaks the bone. Okay? Remember about words. You're better off not saying anything, because words hurt. Words, you can't take something back, okay? Once it's said, it's said. So don't say it in the first place. And 17, it's good advice. Let your foot rarely be in your neighbor's house, or he will become weary of you and hate you. Wear out your welcome. 20, like one who takes off a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar on soda, is he who sings songs to a troubled heart. When people are sad, they don't want you to sing happy songs to them and clown around and joke with them. They're not in the mood for that, okay? Sometimes you can sit with them and just be quiet and just be there, and that's enough. And sooner or later, they will start talking. Okay, 21 and 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Okay? And you feed them, they're starving and they're thirsty, and you feed them, they're your enemies. They're going to be ashamed, okay? They're going to take it. Okay, and we talked about this, 24. Solomon's wife problems, right? It's better to live on the corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. And since he had 700 wives and 300 concubines, which are like wives that weren't wives, okay? So he had 1,000 women. Some of them were contentious. I mean, the odds are just, unbelievable that you would have a contentious and a nagging one with all those, with 1,000 women to try and satisfy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And 27, is not good to eat too much honey, nor is it glory to search out one's own glory. Again, remain humble. And if most of the time, being humble is just a matter of being quiet. Don't talk about yourself. Just be quiet, And then be humble about it. Do you know you can be an expert on a subject and say, do you know some of this? Yeah, I know a little about this. I don't know everything about that, because you can't know everything about anything, okay? You can learn everything in the world and still know nothing, okay, compared to God's knowledge. So don't search that. I happen to be an expert on that subject. I know a little bit, what kind of problem are you having? And if you are humble and say, yeah, I know something about it, and they have a problem and you don't know, they're saying, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know that. I could find out for you, but, right? Good stuff. So there you go, Proverbs 25. Good stuff. Just about done with another month, and then we'll start again. Okay? Stay tuned later today. We're in 1 Kings and Chronicles. Okay, they're going back and forth because 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles pretty much mirror each other. They're telling the same story from two different perspectives. Yeah, see, we're reading 1 Kings, part of it, 1525 through 1634. And then 2 Chronicles chapter 17, it's like the same. It's like reading two of the Gospels at the same time. I think they're a little different, but they tell the same story. So we'll do that, and we're also studying Romans, just because I wanted to get some New Testament in there. We've been in the Old Testament for 6 months now, and I needed to get some New Testament and some Jesus teaching. So we're doing Paul's letter to the Romans, which could very easily be Paul's letter to the United States now, okay? Because our governments between old Rome and America are very similar and going in the same direction. So it's very interesting how you can apply that to today. But that's what's going on today. Give us a like if you think about it. Catch up on any may I missed. But until later on, see ya.